Night, baby.
Hello guys and welcome to another Spurs related video with your host James, and as always I'm joined by my co-hosts Alessio and Jin at the bottom of your screen there, and Michael all the way from South Africa. And today guys, as you can see from the video, we will be reviewing the Premier League 2021-22 upcoming season, predicting where we think Spurs will finish, predicting where we think what the top four will be, and all the relegations from 1st to 20th. And we obviously want you guys to put your opinions in the chat, and we can pull them up and talk about various different, Champions League qualification places, Europa League, etc., and how we think Spurs will do this year. So without further ado, Michael, welcome on in as always. How you doing, mate?
Hey, good, you?
All good, all good, all good. Alessio and Jin.
We are good, man. We're looking forward to reviewing the Premier League. I think it's going to get a bit spicy, you know.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So normally we'd have Joseph McBride on the podcast on the video, but he's actually sent in his video predictions. We haven't seen this, so we have no idea, other than the designer who's made the graphics to put the top 20, the 20 Premier League places. So without further ado, guys, let's just get into this straight away. Let's before we start, let's get through a few comments. Finn's in the chat. He says, "Yes, lads." Jin, thanks for commenting on your other account just to boost the numbers, mate. What else have we got in here? We got Wogwan from the Mirror Massive. Joe's in here as well. Good stuff. So, without further ado, as I've said about 300 times, let's put up Joe's predictions. Here we go, as Fabrizio says. And I haven't seen this. None of us have seen this, have we, boys?
No.
Good evening, everybody, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope you're excited for the season ahead that literally starts this weekend, unfortunately, with Arsenal, but there you go. Hi, everyone at Spurs Related. I'm going to do my Premier League predictions now. There's some dodgy choices in there, I'll be honest, but, I'm the knowledgeable one, which is why they specially asked me to come on and do this. Joking aside. Right, so this season, I think it's going to be a return to the Championship straight away for Brentford and Watford. I think they'll come 20th and 19th, respectively. I think Brentford have got, obviously, Ivan Toney, and they've got a decent side going forward, but they haven't got any star names. I know it's not all about that. I just think, their mentality as they got towards the end of the playoffs and the end of the Championship seasons for the last couple of years, I just don't think their mentality's right. So I think when it gets to the real gritty part of the league and, games are getting really difficult and important, I don't think they'll have the mental strength. I just think they'll go back down. I think Ivan Toney will go to another Premier League club and then they'll rebuild because that's what they're known for. And Watford, they made some good attacking acquisitions in there, but I just don't think they're enough. And we've seen it all before. Their manager will get sacked within like 5-6 months, if not even before that. And then it will go downhill from there. And my other choice for relegation, which is again, probably a bit of an interesting one, is Burnley. Now, I know Sean Dyche has done so well keeping them up with the limited resources he has, but I just think, enough's enough. Surely it can't keep happening. And Nick Pope's becoming a bit injury prone. And I just think their strikers are aging. They're relying on obviously Chris Wood and Vidra and Barnes, and I just can't see them doing it for another season. So I think they'll go down this time. But the one team that came up from the Championship that I think will stay up is Norwich. And part of that is the fact that they've been there a couple of seasons before. I know obviously a striker can't keep you in the division, which is why I don't think Brentford will stay with Ivan Toney. But I think Pookie's had a bit of experience now. Daniel Farke's had a bit of experience with it. I think they'll be okay, especially if they keep Todd Cantwell. But I think they'll stay up this year. I think they've got enough. So that's that. I think after that, it's going to be a really tricky year for Southampton. I don't think they're going to go down just like everyone else is saying. I think they've still got a decent squad. I think Ralph Hasenhüttl was a really good manager. So I think they'll stay up. I think they'll be fine. But it's going to be a bit of a tricky one. I think it's going to be a close one this year, like it was last year. And just above them, it's going to be Crystal Palace. I know they've signed Joachim Anderson from Lyon or Fulham when he was on loan, and everyone was interested in. And Patrick Vieira's come in, but he's relatively unproven. And I don't think their squad's that great. It will really depend on the fitness of Zaha and if Benteke can start the season the way he ended it last year. But I think they'll still be all right. And then above them is Newcastle. They haven't actually signed anyone other than potentially Joe Willock in the next few hours as recording this video. But the signings they made last year under Steve Bruce, they were decent. And I think, they're going to be better this time around. I think they still have a decent enough squad to stay up, and I think they will. And in 13th above them will be Brighton, the XG champions and all that. They haven't still signed a striker, even though they're known for, they should score goals, but they haven't bought the one thing that they need to do that. But there we go. I think they'll be okay. They're still yet to get 10 Premier League wins in a season. But Graham Potter's definitely on an upward trajectory. He's definitely on a plan. He's definitely building something at Brighton, and fair play to them. And to make up the bottom half, I think will be Wolves and Leeds. I think Wolves will be okay. I still don't think they're that good, and that they're definitely kind of the wheels are falling off the Wolves train. But I think Raul Jimenez comeback can't be overlooked. I think that'll be okay, and I think Leeds will make up the final spot, just missing out on top half because they'll have another decent year. But I think following the end of the season, we could see some players from Leeds depart. To make up the bottom 4 spots of the top half of the table, Everton in 10th. They've got Rafa Benitez in, very compact, decent defensive manager. But I just don't see Everton as much of a threat. Last year, they rarely scored more than 1 or 2 goals a game at most, and they just went for a really bad drought. And the signings I made, Damari Gray, who wants to prove himself at Premier League level, but he hasn't just yet. Andros Townsend on a free is an okay signing. I just don't really see too much for them, really. James Rodriguez isn't going to be there, but he wasn't for the rest of the season anyway. So it all relies on Calvert-Lewin scoring again and Richarlison picking it up, which I know he can do. But I think 10th is fair enough for them. And just above them will be West Ham. No Lingard this time around. Still a bit short up front with relying on Antonio, that's very injury prone. But I just think the quality of Declan Rice and Aaron Queso and Soufal on the wings, wing back, will be good enough for them, and they'll do okay. And the final 2 spots, this will upset you Spurs boys, I'm sorry. I think Villa will come in 8th, and I do think Tottenham will come 7th. So same as last year, I don't see you breaking into the top 6, mainly because of a bit of unsettlement at the club. I know you've brought in Romero, and you've done some decent business, and you've done some positive things, but it's going to be a tough test for Nuno. I think 7th will be okay. And I think very much you've come to the end of obviously the Poch cycle and then the Mourinho era. And I think now it's time for a sustainable rebuild and a refresh. And, the future is definitely bright for Tottenham, but I do think it's going to be 7th this time around. But you'll be pipping Villa, who have made a lot of signings, obviously getting rid of their captain, Jack Grealish. I just think it takes a lot for those to gel. I think Danny Ings will do really well. But I think 8th is a really decent position for them. I think they'll be happy with that. So the 2 spots below the top 4 will be Leicester and Arsenal. I think Leicester will miss out just again. But whereas before it's due to them kind of bottling it in a way. I know that's not a very savoury term on this channel or with this club. But I think it's mainly because the other 4 above them, the clear 4, have just strengthened in every way. Liverpool maybe not strengthened too much other than Konate, but they've brought players back from injury, which would be huge. They can actually play their midfield. So I think they miss out on 5th. And Arsenal, the reason they'll do bit better than Tottenham this year, I think, and come in 6th is purely because they got no European football. It's a blessing because of how dire they were last year. So I just think they have a lot less to focus on, and I think that it depends to be seen if Arteta is going to bring in another creative midfielder that he's been desperate for. But we shall see. So that's that. The top 4, slightly controversial, maybe because I'm a Liverpool fan, but that's not the point. Man United in 4th. It's a big shout. They've spent big. They've got Varane in. They've got Sancho in. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time for that to work and for the Ole's Showtime Reds, as they're known, to really start ticking. I still don't think their midfield, with Fred and McTominay is good enough. Pogba's a bit unsettled, and he only really turns up for his country. And they're still missing that number 9. I know they've got Cavani, but he is aging. Rashford's had some shoulder surgery. That was a bit of a mouthful. Martial's on the fringes. I think if they got the number 9, if they had have got Kane like they were linked with, it's never going to happen. Or a Haaland or something, I think that they'd be a bit different. But I just think without that clear number 9, it's very much heavily reliant on Bruno Fernandes, and Sancho's basically been expected to come in and get the assists and make things happen straight away. I just don't think it will happen for them straight away. In 3rd, I've gone for Liverpool. They've only made the one signing, as I said, but a lot of players coming back from injury. They can actually play their midfield in the right positions. And I think if they're going to push and maybe go for it this year, it's the year, because the front 3 are getting older, 29, 30, 31 across the ranks. It's kind of getting towards the cycle of that team. So I think this is maybe their last decent shot, if not the next year. And the top 2, very controversial. I've gone for Man City to finish 2nd. I think they're amazing. They're the team to beat. They're incredible to watch, and hats off to them. And they've obviously brought in Jack Grealish to their ranks now. But 3 out of the last 4 seasons as the Premier League is incredible, and I just can't see that continuing. I guess same with the Burnley theory of it can't keep happening. Every squad burns out. I know they've refreshed it a bit. I know Pep Guardiola is a winner. He's amazing. I just think it's not going to happen this year. And obviously there was a bit of a period last year before they went on that mad 25 game run or whatever it was, where they had a bit of a wobble. And if they can get through that again, then we'll see. But without being too pessimistic, they're one defensive injury away from a crisis again. They've got Eric Garcia. Ake is shaky as hell. Laporte potentially wants out. So, Ruben Diaz and Stones are amongst one of the best partnerships in the league. But if one of them has an issue, then they're in trouble. So we'll see. I just think they won't do it this year. And if they sign Harry Kane, I think that will change and they will win the league. If they don't, I'm more tipped to say Chelsea are going to do it. And I hate that. But last year I was very, very strong. I said that Chelsea would win a trophy. Didn't know it'd be the Champions League. But I said I wasn't quite getting on the bandwagon. Everyone was saying they're going to win the league with the signings they made. I said last year, they would gel, they would threaten, and they would look good towards the end of the season. And this season right now would be the one where it gels and it comes together. And Tuchel is very much, the man of the moment. And I think it could all come together at the right time. And the fact Lukaku is London bound is just insane, because having that guy to hold up the play and have Werner, have Havertz, have Mount, have Pulisic, whoever they have, they've got so many players running off him. It's just frightening. So I think Chelsea will win the league this year. I don't want them to, but that's exactly what I think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I know there's some interesting shouts in there. I'm probably going to get hated for that. But yeah, nice one, guys. See you in a bit.
Wow, that was an interesting one. Guys, we'll run through Joe's predictions. We made some graphics courtesy of Michael. So as we can see, well, as he's just talked through, he's gone for Arsenal above Spurs, which is very interesting. What do we think of that, guys, to start with?
I can kind of see where it's coming from about Arsenal not having any European competition. They can focus more on the Premier League, but at the same time, no. No, let's hope not.
So I think Joe's main talking points here would be obviously two of the promoted three going down in Watford and Brentford, and Norwich just to survive over Burnley. Burnley being in the Premier League a number of years, and Chelsea to finish top over City is a surprising one as well. Obviously Lukaku announced today. I can see where he's coming from. I think Chelsea will have a good season. Do I think they'll finish top? I don't, but we'll come to mine in a bit. But very interesting stuff from Joe. Certainly Villa above West Ham is also interesting, and Leeds 11th maybe surprises some people. But other than that, it's most people's top four, isn't it? Really. No, Joe, thanks for sending that in. I agree with Michael. I can see what you mean about the European places and not having European football to focus on, but Arsenal above Tottenham on. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I was sat there thinking, like, where are Arsenal coming? When you said 7th Tottenham, I'm like, please don't put Arsenal top 4. But at least you didn't do that. But still, we know how close it was between Tottenham and Arsenal last year. So, potentially could be the other one. Can someone turn Siri off? That would be great. Yeah, Joe, thanks for obviously sending that video in. And guys, obviously, if you're in the live stream, comment your thoughts on Joe's predictions and any of our predictions. We'd love to chat with you through this live stream. Joe's in the stream. He said he's caused the right state. Joe, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not 10 angry, but I'd say I'm 7 in terms of disappointed, more than anything. Spurs-related member, and at the end of the day, we know Joe's not biased, so he's being honest, and I'm sure a lot of people probably do think Arsenal to finish above Spurs based on the fact they don't have the UEFA League Conference or
Conference League, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's just see how that goes. I reckon we'll be playing a lot of youth players in that anyway, so let's see. Right, who's up next?
Yeah, Michael's next.
Oh,
Brilliant stuff. Here we go. Michael is going to talk you through his Premier League predictions. If I put him on screen, there he is.
Okay, so I've gone for Man City to win the league because they always seem to do that. No. The signings they've made, the squad depth they have, apart from even at centre-back, I know Joe was saying that they're one defensive injury away from a major issue with either Stones or Diaz, but they do have options there. They may not be options that are as good as what they have currently, but Ake and do they still have Garcia? Didn't Garcia go to Barcelona? I know Joe mentioned that. Yeah, Joe mentioned Garcia, but I think he is at Barcelona. And yes, I think it's quite a toss-up between Man City and Man United. I think Man United could potentially go all the way, unfortunately, but I think that'll be a close one between second and first. potentially closer than it was last season. And Chelsea in third, again, it's probably going to be a very close top four entirely, but Chelsea have made obviously done some great business getting Lukaku in, no matter how much they paid for him. He's a great striker, and that's going to be worrying for everyone else as well. Liverpool in fourth, they haven't made some very convincing signings. They got Konate. That's something to strengthen their back line, and I suppose Van Dijk coming in will be like another new signing for them as well, given that he was barely there last season with his injuries. But yeah, I don't see Liverpool finishing higher than fourth, given the competition in there. Fifth, I've gone Tottenham, which is probably maybe a little bit hopeful given last season, especially considering Harry Kane might leave. But fifth, Tottenham, sixth, Leicester. I feel like that'll be close between Leicester and Tottenham, especially with Leicester's injury that's happened recently with Fofana, who was quite key to them last season. But yeah, I think that'll be quite close as well between fifth and sixth. Then Aston Villa in seventh, the signings they've made to bring in Ings, etc. Bailey, which replace Grealish, those are quality signings. Hopefully, if they gel for Aston Villa, I do think they can do quite well. West Ham in eighth. I wonder, given that they've got no Lingard, I know I put it myself, but I think West Ham can finish above Arsenal, but I don't know if they will. It'll probably be close there as well, I feel. And Arsenal in ninth. Let's hope they finish lower, but yeah, we won't go further than that about them. Everton 10th, bringing in Rafa Benitez is could be good for them, but again, they haven't made, as Joe said, they haven't made such convincing signings either. So yeah, that could be where they finish. And Leeds in 11th. I think Joe said the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. They finished thereabouts last season. They could probably do something similar with Bielsa signing a new contract, etc. We'll see. And Wolves and Brighton in 12th and 13th, respectively. I feel like one thing I struggled with on this list was where to place Brighton relative to Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace and Brighton, I feel, are going to be very close this season as well. Given that Brighton, they may have lost Ben White, but they've got a lot of money to spend now. So let's see what they do in terms of future signings. And Crystal Palace in 14th. I think that's, as I said, that'll be very close. Burnley, I don't think they'll get relegated. I can't see them going down, even with the streak they've been on. I don't think they'll burn out. They always seem to stay up, and they probably will again this season, I feel. And Southampton and Newcastle in 16th and 17th, respectively. I think Newcastle might be in a relegation battle for a little bit, but I think they'll stay up in the end. And then going down will be everyone who came up in Watford, Norwich, and Brentford. I think Norwich always seems to go down just after they come up and then come up again the next season, but even not necessarily based on past events, I think they'll probably go down the season as well. And Watford might just go above them. And as Joe was saying, Brentford don't look very convincing for the Premier League, so I think they'll finish last.
Brilliant stuff. Talk us through a couple of the main points, Michael, in terms of, Villa is quite high up on there. Do you think Danny Ings is going to hit the ground running there?
If he can, that's what I'm basing this off. If he can, then they'll do great, because, and barring any injuries, of course, because he is fairly injury prone. But if he can stay fit and stay on the ball and start the season well, then I think they can do great things, actually.
And talk us through, obviously, like you've said already, Tottenham you're saying is a bit optimistic, but
possibly.
Would you think that top four is quite solid? You don't think anyone can sort of challenge for that?
I think it's a very solid top four, but as you know, obviously in the Premier League, anything can happen. So let's hope maybe Tottenham can slip in there somehow.
And lastly, talk us through why Man United over Chelsea in second, just because obviously Joe thinks Chelsea top and you think Chelsea third. Talk us through your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think Man United, like I said, it's a very close top four, so it could switch around. But I think Man United might just edge Chelsea, given they've signed Sancho and Varane. Chelsea have signed Lukaku. Those are very close in terms of quality for the signings they've made. But United strengthening their back line, having Varane alongside Maguire could be key to them. So I think that's part of it. And then Sancho, with the assist he'll get potentially, could be great for them. And with someone like Cavani, who's might be getting on there in terms of age, but is great with his positioning in the box, and he never loses that sort of thing. Having Sancho come in and maybe give him some great service along with Fernandes, that could be good for them.
Awesome stuff. The only other thing I probably would have asked was about Southampton. Obviously, 16th is quite low. Do you think they'll be, well, clearly they'll be near the relegation zone in your opinion, but do you think they'll really struggle without Danny Ings? Do you think he makes that much of a difference?
Yeah, I do think he makes a big difference to them. Yeah, he's a key player. It just depends on if they bring anyone in potentially. But yeah, I don't think Southampton are gonna. I don't think they'll go down. I think they've got enough quality to stay up for sure, but I don't think they'll do exceptionally well next season.
Great stuff. Super stuff, Michael. Thank you. Alessio and Gin, are you next?
It's you actually.
There we go.
Or do you want
Right.
something else?
No, that's fine. That's fine. So, similar to the other guys, in terms of the bottom three to start with, I've gone for all the the promoted three to get relegated. Mainly because, again, Brentford very weak for the Premier League. I feel like they're going to really struggle. I don't think they're going to get like the worst points ever in the Premier League, but I don't think it's looking good for the Premier League for them. Norwich as well, like Michael was saying, they seem to yo-yo when they come up to the Premier League. They go straight back down, and I think it's going to be no different this season. Watford, I think, will try. Obviously, all the teams are trying to stay up, but in terms of I think they'll be the closest to staying up. But I think, like we were saying, that's why I kind of asked Michael to go into this. Southampton, without Danny Ings, they look so average anyway, and he kind of scored goals out of nothing and scored sort of 20, what was it, 22 goals last season or the season before that. So, without those goals, they're going to really struggle in games where it's tight, and potentially they've got 2-1 winners before they could lose a game 1-0 or, draw a game. They're going to lose points. So that's how it's going to work. Moving up the table a bit, Burnley, Palace, Newcastle. Again, those are the teams that are going to be in the relegation fight. I think Burnley have been in the Premier League for so long now, and they've looked more and more average as we've gone along. Potentially they could go down, but I think they'll just survive. Palace, Newcastle, again, very average last year. Patrick Vieira, no Premier League experience as a manager. Not sure how that's going to work. I can't see him lasting long as a manager there, but we'll see. Newcastle, again, Joe said Joe Willock is signed today, is that right? So obviously looked good last season for them. So if that happens, then he'll probably contribute to them staying up. Brighton, obviously losing Ben White, like Michael said, is a big blow, but is he worth 50 million? I don't think so. I think Arsenal have stung themselves there. But let's see what they do with the money. These clubs can sell these players, but they've got to fill in, and they need a new centre back, obviously. Wolves, West Ham, and Leeds make up the remaining of the bottom half. But the thing is with Leeds, obviously they had a solid first season in the Premier League, but correct me if I'm wrong, they still only finished 10th, didn't they? So I think it'll be a similar season again. Rafinha is a class player. If they can hold on to him, they'll do similar things to last year. Everton, Arsenal, Villa. So I've gone Tottenham to finish above Arsenal and Villa. And Leicester, again, I'm being optimistic. Do I think Spurs are genuinely going to finish 5th? Who knows? But like Joe said, there's a lot of problems behind the scenes. We need to sort out the Kane stuff. So let's see on that front. And then the top 4, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, City. I can't see City not winning this league again. They look too good. Too good, too much strength, too much depth. Just an unbelievable team. And Chelsea, I think, will run them close, but I think City will still win the league by, I'd say, 8-9 points we'll go with. Man United obviously strengthening, great signings in Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. And I think, like Michael was saying, Cavani is still an absolute world-class striker. With that service from Bruno last year was working so well at the end of the season. And Bruno Fernandes, if he can stay fit. Bruno Penandes, yes, he scores a lot of penalties, but let's be honest, what a signing that was. For the money they paid, they got such a good deal. And he will kick on and they'll finish 3rd above Liverpool. And I think Liverpool, obviously they won the league 2 years ago, but trying to get on back on Joe here. I just don't think, obviously still I'd take top 4 as Spurs, but even say, being honest, 5th I think is being a bit optimistic. If I was being a bit more brutal, I'd probably say maybe Leicester to finish above Spurs and Spurs 6th, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to go with 5th. But honestly, I can't see past Man City this year. And like I was saying, Liverpool, the thing I was saying this to Joe the other day. Actually, I think if you think about Premier League manager tenures, Jurgen Klopp's been there. What is it? 4 seasons now, lads? 4 seasons? 5 seasons?
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So if you look at like comparing it with Poch, I know this doesn't always happen, but I feel like they're gonna have a bad run, and Klopp will either walk or get. I don't. That's the thing. Will he get sacked? I'm not sure, but I can't see Klopp being there much more than this season. I really can't. I think they're going to change it up because yes, they struggled last season without Van Dijk, of course, and now he's going to be back. But I still don't think there's something missing there with Liverpool. I don't know what it is, and I think losing Wijnaldum. I know they didn't start many games, but getting rid of Wijnaldum quite soon, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't add up. I don't know what you guys think, but I think Wijnaldum's a big blow. And I think Thiago didn't hit the ground running. I mean, he was pretty much a non-existent signing. Yes, he showed sparks, but I think even Joe will admit he was a bit disappointing to what everyone thought he'd be.
Yeah.
I just think with Liverpool, there's a few players there, like, you got James Milner, getting on now. And I don't know, again, he's not a regular starter, but there's something in that depth that for Liverpool, if they get a couple of injuries, then you start to question whether they can win every game. And of course, no team can win, every single game, but it's unlikely. But I don't know. There's something there for Liverpool that's not quite strong enough to go above 4 for me. But again, I could be wrong, but I do think that will be the top 4. I really do. I think it will be Man City, Chelsea, United, Liverpool, and in particular, I think it will be City, Chelsea top 2. So yeah, that is my predictions. Like I said, a bit optimistic about Spurs, but let's see. And yeah, over to Alessio and Jin. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah. All right. I was surprised about you putting Leicester underneath Spurs, though. I'll go on to my prediction, but I feel like Leicester have a lot of depth this year. But
they lost their Fofana, so.
But they got back.
Exactly. Big loss.
It's gonna be a big loss, yeah.
Who's next? Oh, it's Jin.
Oh, it's me.
I left myself too long.
So my bottom 3 is I put 2 of the promoted teams to relegate, and I put Burnley. I think Sean Dyche I think his time's up in the Premier League. He's experienced in the Premier League. He keeps him up every year, but he's been here a few seasons now. I think he's gonna go down with Burnley. Watford I put rock bottom. I think they've got a decent talent in their team, but I don't think they have the quality. The managers, he only came in mid-season in the Championship for Watford. I don't think he's got the experience to do it in the Premier League. I put Brentford just below 17th. I think if Tony could get some goals in, it could go either way. It could be Norwich or Brentford to relegate, because Tony could kick on in the Premier League, but Norwich, they have Pookie. It's going to be between them 2 strikers who's going to keep their team up. Norwich, of course, I think they're going to stay up. I think they're going to learn their lesson from last time, especially with the manager. They play good football. You saw that against Man City. Remember when they won? So yeah, I think the manager is going to learn from last time and keep them up. Newcastle, I'm going to put them quite low, actually, 16th. They haven't really made many signings this season. I think the manager's similar to Sean Dyche. It's who's the manager again?
No.
Steve Bruce.
Oh yeah,
Bruce.
Yeah, he's one of those managers that keep the team up. They're there to keep the team up in the Premier League. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna do too well, but they're just gonna stay up. Southampton have lost a few good players. They, especially Danny Ings leaving, but I think Che Adams, he's gonna do well enough to keep them up. Southampton. So yeah, losing Danny Ings is going to give Che Adams a chance and give him a boost to maybe kick on and get a few goals for them and keep them up. I'm going to move on. Crystal Palace, like you said, Vieira, he hasn't got that Premier League experience, and I think that's going to play a toll. But maybe you got Zaha and Eze back, and I think if them two get a good partnership, they could do well for them. But yeah, I think they're not going to go past the mid-table. Brighton, I got finishing 13th. They got a really good manager in Potter. Spurs were looking at Potter actually to sign as manager. But yeah, they got a decent manager. But again, they lost their centre back to Arsenal taking him. So I don't think they would go that far to where they should be. If they maybe kept him, I'd put them maybe 9th or 10th, because with the manager, Graham Potter, he's a pretty decent manager for them. But yeah, I'll put them just under 10th in 13th. Wolves, they've lost Nuno, but they have pretty decent players. I think Podence, he's gonna do well for them. Podence, he did well during last season. He's a really tricky player. I like him, Podence. So yeah, I think he's gonna keep them up. Wolves. I think Podence is gonna be their star player. West Ham and Leeds, it's gonna be one of those together. They're gonna be fighting for that mid-table spot. West Ham and Leeds, I think. West Ham are decent, but Antonio, he's the only striker there. And don't forget, they've got European football as well. Can Antonio keep up with being basically the only striker there? They need to sign a decent striker, and I think that will keep them up, maybe go up a few places. But for now, I think Antonio is going to, he needs to stay fit. Leeds, I'm putting Leeds 10th because of the manager, mostly because he's a really good manager. He's got a really good he's really good in the club. He's got good tactics. I think Leeds will finish mid-table, mainly because of the manager, and maybe what's his name, Bamford. Maybe he could get a couple of goals. I think he wants to get into that England squad, so I think he's going to be good for Leeds this season. Everton and Aston Villa, they're another one that could finish above either. Everton, they've got Benitez. He's got experience, but I think again, they haven't made the signings to push into them European spots, so I put them 9th. Aston Villa 8th. They got Buendia, but they've lost Jack Grealish. I might have put them a bit higher if they kept Jack Grealish, but of course, they lost Jack Grealish, so I think 8th is probably the perfect place for Aston Villa. Arsenal, I put 7th. It's going to be between Leicester and Arsenal. I think that they're going to be in similar places. Arsenal, they've signed a centre back for 50 million. Is it Ben White? I don't think that was a good choice from them, but we still need to see how Pepe is going to play. He's a real talent for Arsenal. We'll see if he's going to kick on. Leicester, I put 6th. They've got the manager there. I forgot his name. I keep forgetting managers' names, but
Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, I know what they look like. I keep forgetting their name.
Yeah.
But Brendan Rodgers, he's a really good manager. He's doing so well with the owner of that club, and they have a nice connection around the club at Leicester. They've got really good chemistry. Put Tottenham 5th. Made really good. We've got centre back Romero. This is between Spurs and Leicester. We could finish below Leicester maybe. If we lose Harry Kane, that's gonna affect our season. So I put Spurs 5th. If we keep Kane, maybe we could push on higher, but I'm putting them 5th. I don't want to put any more faith in Spurs at the moment. But yeah, I put Man United 4th. Fernandes, he's gonna. I think if Fernandes stays fit, he's gonna help them once again. Man United. It's again that it's under Fernandes after the central attacking midfield spot. It's the Fred McTominay kind of bit. I think that's gonna affect them this season. Can they improve that midfield? Liverpool put 3rd. Van Dijk coming back is going to be massive for them, and Gomez, they're going to get a centre back partnership, and they got is it Kanate, the other centre back as well. So yeah, they got depth in that in the defence, but again, Robertson's injured now, So I think that's going to affect them at the start of the season.
Good point.
For Liverpool. So we'll have to see there. Chelsea, I put second. I think I'm gonna go towards Joe's prediction. It's gonna be between Chelsea and Man City, but for me, I put Man City above Chelsea because of the managers. Can Tuchel can he get Chelsea that Premiership title? It's gonna be between them and Man City as well. Pep, he's a serial winner. He's won the Premier League multiple times. But yeah, it's between Chelsea and Man City, and the biggest squad depths in the league. So it's going to be between them two, I think. So we have to see. That's it.
Spot on. Yeah, I think a lot of what you said is down to squad depth, and especially what you said with Villa. I thought it was worth highlighting. It's not just Buendia, obviously. They got Danny Ings, Buendia, and Leon Bailey from Bayer Leverkusen, unbelievable signings. And when that went through, obviously, eyebrows were raised about Grealish getting sold, and then a few days later, it was announced to City. So I think they've reinvested well. Will they gel well as a team? Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great stuff. Cheers, Jin. Over to your brother, Alessio.
Yeah. All right. So.
Before you do, Alessio, we got a comment here.
Yeah.
Miss J, welcome in as always, mate. Nice to see you here. He's also said we only finish 5th if we sign another centre back and right back, creative midfielder, and 2 strikers. Honestly, if that happens, I will be very surprised if we sign even one or 2 of them. So, Mr. J, I'm guessing you're going for a 6th place finish for Spurs. He's also said swap Winks and 15 mil for James Ward-Prowse. And Sanchez and 20 for Pau Torres. Again, this is ideal changes. I know we've been linked with James Ward-Prowse, but will it come off? Probably not. But will Winks get sold? Also, probably not. I know Sissoko's the one that's looking like he's going to depart by the end of the window. Yeah. And then Dombele has been in the talks to leave as well. So I reckon we'll lose either Sissoko or Dombele, probably Sissoko. But I can't see us losing Winks, unfortunately, at this stage. But there we go. Mr. Sideways, Mr. Safe stays on. Right, Alessio, your go.
So I've gone with the 2 promoted teams, Brentford and Watford, in relegation. I don't know. I haven't seen much business going on with Watford, but they could get some more in. But I just don't see their team having a lot of depth in their squad. So I put them in 20th, but I think it'll be between Brentford and Watford, between 19th and 20th. But as you guys said, you made some good points about Brentford. They don't really have that much depth, or are they ready for the Premier League? But I think they are. They are quite strong against Premier League opposition, like in the cup games, so like EPL, the Carabao Cup and stuff like that. They've done well. They got in the semi-final last year against us. I think they could do well in the Premier League, but I think they're not going to make it into the top half of the table, so I'm going to put them in 19th. Newcastle is a bit controversial, but I don't know. I think their time is up in the Premier League. I don't see them. They haven't made that many signings. I kind of based it on the transfer window for each club, but I should have looked at it a bit more in depth. But I've looked at Newcastle and I'm like, with Bruce in charge, I don't know. I don't see them making it this season. It's like with Burnley really, but Burnley somehow they managed to keep themselves in the Premier League. I don't know about Newcastle this year. I don't know if they have the strength to do it, but that's just what I think anyway. But I put Norwich in 17th. I think Norwich can do it this year, stay in the Premier League. I think it'll be between Norwich. That bottom 4, I think it'll be a massive battle between them for relegation. But I think Norwich will just edge it because I think they're going to learn from the previous season, and I think they've got the hunger to stay up in the Premier League this season. I'm not sure what their signings have been like, but they've got a strong team. But they've lost Buendia, which is strong.
They've got Gilmour.
Oh yeah, they got Gilmour now, but he's more of a skip replacement from last season. But yeah, he got good talent. But I think losing Buendia is going to be a big blow for them, and they might even lose Campbell. Campbell they might lose him to. Well, it was linked with Aston Villa because of Swedish, but I'm not sure. But they lose him, I see them going down potentially. So I think it's going to be a massive battle between the bottom four. Southampton, they've lost Danny Ings, and you guys have made a lot of good points about Southampton. So they're literally, I don't see them going any lower or any higher. I think 16th is a good position for them, and they've lost a lot of talented players. I think they're losing Vestergaard to Leicester, so that's another blow for them. He was good for them last season, so I think 16th is good for them. Burnley just above. I think they're gonna kick on same as last season. I think I maybe put them a bit too high, Burnley. Thinking about it now, after I've seen your guys' tables and your points made about it, but I just see them in 15th really, and they haven't made many signings, but they always manage to do it with Sean Dyche. So I think they're gonna stay in the top, well, in the 15th. So we're going to Wolves. Wolves are a bit controversial, to be honest with you, but I don't see, now that they've lost Nuno and coming off the back of last season, I don't see them improving that well. Do we need any signings? I'm not sure, but I can't remember what signings they might be. Jimenez is back, so he might bring them back up. It just depends on the new manager. I've not seen much of him, if he's a quality or not. But I feel like
Ex-Benfica manager. I don't
right.
don't know a lot about him, but
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna put them at 14th. Be a bit safe for them. I think 14th would be alright after losing Nuno and getting back on track with a new manager. Brighton 13th. I think it was similar to the position last season. When did they finish? But I think Brighton have a strong team. They've got Potter as their manager. He's a really good manager. He was linked to us, as Jin said, and they've got a good, decent squad. But they've lost Ben White now, and he was crucial to them, to their defence. So I'm not sure if they replaced him yet, but if they replace him, they could go higher.
Brighton finished 16th last season.
Oh, 16. Oh, so I might be a bit more lenient this time. But after losing Ben White, they might actually go lower now. I think now that you've said that, but we'll see. I think 13th will be that battle in the middle of the table. It's going to be a massive battle between those teams. But Brighton, I think 13th. Crystal Palace have made good signings, really good signings. They brought in a lot of talented players in. So I think that centre back from Chelsea, that Chelsea fans rated really highly. They also bring Olise, that striker.
What centre back from? What do you mean? Which centre back?
They brought centre back from Chelsea, a youngster. I can't remember his name, but I remember they brought in a centre back from Chelsea.
All right.
He's really talented. Apparently, he's highly rated by Chelsea fans. And they've also brought Anderson in as well, who was linked with us.
I thought that's what you meant.
No, not Anderson. They've also brought.
Yeah, I've just seen. Yeah,
they've got Anderson.
Yeah, and they got Anderson. So I think they're going to have a strong season. But obviously, it comes down to Vieira, as you guys said. He's not got the Premier League experience, and can he take that talent and bring their talent out in the Premier League? I don't know, but we have to see.
£21 million they paid for this this Chelsea centre back. That's unbelievable.
Really?
They paid £21 million for him. I've never heard of him. They got Anderson for 15 million, so they've spent £37 million
on a
21 plus 16 on two centre backs. Wow, they better be solid defensively.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think Crystal Palace would do well.
But what have they got up front? Christian Benteke. So.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna have a lot of 0-0s by the looks of things.
Yeah, I think they could even push up to 10th if their team clicks, and they got good firepower up front. They got Zaha. They got Olise though. That Olise guy. What's his name?
Michael Olise.
He's talented, really talented.
We think about Eze as well.
Yeah, and Eze. Yeah, so they do have a good attack. So they will see how they do. I think Leeds are going to be 11th. Bielsa is quality manager. Good tactics, attacking tactics, but not good in the back. Not really good at defense. But I don't know. I feel like they're going to stick in the middle of the table, and I'm not sure what signings they've made.
Yeah, it doesn't look like maybe.
They haven't made many signings, but I think they're still a strong team. And like James said, Rafinha, quality player. And definitely I'll stick them in 11th, keep them mid-table. Everton, I put them at 10th. Benitez has come in, but the Everton fans aren't happy with him. So I think there's a lot of tension in the club at the moment, especially with the fans. So I can see them finishing in 10th. They've made some mediocre signings, like Joe said, not very good signing. Well, Townsend, Gray.
See, I
Yeah.
think Damari Gray's a good signing. I think
Yeah,
that's
he's a good signing. He's a good signing, but Townsend, I don't know. I think he's past it really. He's more of a rotation player really, or someone that will come on off the bench. I'll stick them in 10th. It could be between Leeds and Everton for 10th. But as I said, I think there's going to be a lot of battles in between each section of the table this season. I put Arsenal 9th. It's quite controversial, but I put a lot of controversial things in this table. But I think Arsenal is. Joe did make a good point though about them not being in any European leagues, so I didn't take that into consideration when I done this. So I think going on Joe, I might have to put them a bit higher, but I think 9th. The way they played against us, the way they played at Chelsea in the pre-season, I don't know. They're just the same old Arsenal from last season, really, in my opinion. Not convincing at all. They got Ben White, but we'll have to see how it goes. But I don't know what they made some other business like a left back.
I got
I saw him play at the weekend.
He did a nice drive,
Looks a bit promising.
dribbling towards our defence. He nearly got off for him, but yeah.
I just didn't see it. The Arsenal team doesn't look convincing to me, so I put them 9th. But obviously they don't have the European football, so they could go higher. Aston Villa, really strong. They look coming into the season. They look really strong. If they kept Grealish, they could even be higher. So, but 8th, I think, is a good position. I think it could be a battle between Aston Villa and West Ham for 7th. Even Aston Villa, I think. I don't think they can go higher than 7th. But with the signings they've made, quality attack reinforcements, they brought in Buendia, Bailly, etc. But they made some good signings. So Ashley Young as well. So yeah, I think they've got a good balance in the squad and replaced Grealish quite well. So I think they're going to be in 8th, just above Arsenal. West Ham, coming off the back of a good season last season, they played really well, and they even finished above us, which pains me to see. But West Ham, I think they'll be all right. They'll bring that form over, but they've got European football, like Jim said. I didn't even consider that when I done this, so they could even be.
We're so not used to it, so I don't blame you that you forgot.
Exactly.
You've got to get that one in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
they were having the laughs last year. Not for long.
Not for long. So I put them in 7th. I don't think they'll be able to handle the European football and the Premier League. So, like Jim said, I don't think they've got a good striker. They
got Ben Rama. Maybe he could kick on, but
I haven't seen much of him.
I think Antonio is decent. It's just a matter of him staying fit. And
yeah. So I don't think they're gonna do as well as last season due to European football. But they could even be below Arsenal. I don't know because of the European football. But now we go on to our team, Spurs. I put them in 6th. It's just because I think Leicester edge it this season because of the signings they made, but they lost Fofana. But they've got Vestergaard coming in, but he's not that. I don't know. He's a decent centre back, but I feel like Leicester, they've just got so many. They've made some good signings. Daka as well. He looks like a really good signing. He looks like we were looking to sign him last season as a Kane replacement, Kane backup, but he's quality. But I don't know how he's going to kick on in the Premier League, but.
They got so many options up front there. They got
exactly.
They got Vardy, Inacho, like you said, Daka. Like who? One of them's gonna have to sit on the bench every week.
Exactly.
So
one minimum. I mean, depending.
They got
Inacho as well.
They've got some.
I think
team. Who else did they buy? They bought Samari.
Yeah, someone.
What a sign! I really
Brian
wanted Spurs to get him.
Bertrand.
That left back, decent. So I think it will be a battle between Tottenham and Leicester for fifth. I think Tottenham will definitely get into fifth place if we make some proper signing, a few more signings. I feel like we've made some good business this window. I think we need a striker definitely. Vlahovic, I think we should get definitely, but depends if Kane leaves really. If Kane leaves sixth or seventh, I would say if we don't make any signings. But if we do make signings and Kane goes, I would say we could push for fourth maybe or sixth, well fifth, sorry. But yeah, it all depends on the business we do this season. I think at the moment at this stage I say six. But if we make, I think we need another centre back, an experienced centre back, a right back. It might be Tomiyasu in the right back, and if we get him, it would be good. And we definitely need a striker, an attacking midfielder to create the creativity. But I feel like he can do that creative side. So I don't think that should be priority. I think striker definitely, but centre back and right back we need to sort that defence. So yeah, if we sort that out, I think we can push higher in the Premier League. And like I said with Leicester, they're really powerful, with strong force. It's going to be a battle between fourth, fifth, and sixth with Liverpool as well, I think, because if I move on to Liverpool, like I don't know, they've lost Robertson. They've only got Konate.
Van Dijk.
They got Van Dijk as well back actually, so fourth is definitely looking possible. Only made one signing. I think they need to make a midfield signing to replace with Wijnaldum. So they're all right. I just don't know. One injury can cause them to crash down the table, I think. But depends. I think I agree with James what he said about Jurgen Klopp as well. Well, who was it that said about Jurgen Klopp?
James, yeah.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, it was like the Poch era, like the end of the Poch era would be like the end of the Klopp era. It could happen, so I feel like we'll see what happens with Liverpool. Just don't think they're as strong as previous years. And then we've got Man United. They've made some good business this window. Varane, Sancho. They might even get Camavinga or something. How do you say? But he's a good centre midfielder. So yeah, Man United in third. I don't think they've got the power to get past the top two, which is going to be a battle this year. I think Chelsea and Man City. Chelsea have got Lukaku. They've got a good, strong team created from last season. Like Joe said, they could gel this season and really kick on. So plus the firepower of Lukaku, none of those weren't a misses anymore. So it could be a really interesting Premier League season coming up. And so that's Chelsea. Man City is just unbelievable. They got Grealish now added to their firepower, and then if they get Kane, that's it. I think the league has been, I don't know, the controversial way of saying they bought the league again. But that's what I want to say. If they get Kane, but we'll see what happens. But if they get Kane, they're 100% getting first. Without Kane, I think it's going to be a battle between Chelsea and Man City. But that's it, really. That's all I've got to say. You guys got to say anything about my predictions?
Something I would say is that your top six is very similar to what I would put in for my top six. Alternatively, I think, as I said with mine, it was a very, very close call between Leicester and Tottenham, and Man United and Chelsea in second and third could also be very, very close if City, provided City go on to win it. So yeah, it's a good shot for the top six there specifically.
Yeah. James, got anything to say, Jim? No.
Yeah, good stuff. Like everyone else, Man City, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to be the top two battling out. I still think City will win by some distance. I don't think it will be like complete walk like last year, but I think certainly 7, 8, 9 points, like I said. I think the one I found interesting on your one was Norwich. I believe they'll get relegated. I don't think they've got enough. I'm trying to think about their team now and what Todd Cantwell, Pookie, and do you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
I don't think they've got a lot. Unless I've missed the signing they've made that was class. I don't think budget
They've lost Skip
wise.
as well.
Yep, exactly. And he kind of was one of their main reasons why they went up. And budget reasons, like they're not. I mean, I can have a little look, but I genuinely don't remember Norwich signing someone over like sort of £5 million. And I'm not saying you have to spend to stay up, but it is the Premier League, and
Yeah, exactly.
I'd just be a bit concerned on their behalf. Let me have a look.
Something
So-
else I found. Sorry, go on.
Go on, no, go on.
I was going to say something else I found interesting in Alessio's prediction was West Ham and Aston Villa. I know you said they'd be close, but I think Aston Villa would probably top West Ham, and that would just be highest yet, especially with West Ham's European football and only having Antonio up front.
Yeah. I didn't want to be too generous, but then I agree with what you're saying.
And also the thing is, then again, if Aston Villa signings don't gel, you never know what could happen there either. So
yeah, and then even Villa, they don't have European football, do they?
No, exactly.
So what did Michael say then? Are you surprised you put West Ham above Villa?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well, the thing is with Villa, of course, they made some really good signings in Buendia, Ings, and Bailey, but you got to remember they've lost Jack Grealish, and how good were they with Jack Grealish, and how average were they without him? So you got to just think about that for a minute. Just looking at the Norwich signings, going back to that one, they've made 7 signings, right?
Have they?
Well, they've made about 7. No, they've probably made a few more. Apparently, they've made 16 signings, right? Some are undisclosed fees, right? But let me just go through some. So one of the ones I recognise is Dermic, a Croatian guy from Rijeka. I recognise him. He was in the Euros. But again, they've signed Billy Gilmore, which is actually quite a good signing.
Presumably on loan.
But then, I believe it is. But then they've got Josh Sargent from Werder Bremen for 9 million, centre forward, American guy. I mean, hardly heard of him. They've also signed another Werder Bremen player because Werder Bremen got relegated last year, so they're in the Bundesliga too. So they've had to sell to get money. Rashika, who I recognise, the Kosovan striker, right winger, sorry, for 10 million, and then they've signed another guy for 10 million called Christos Tsizolis from PAOK. And apart from that, I mean, they've signed Ben Gibson from Burnley. He's 28 years old for £9 million. I mean, I've got to be concerned for Norwich. I can't lie. I really can't lie. I can't remember what I put, but I would probably now put Norwich. I think I did put them 19th. I can't. That was one of the ones I didn't agree. I think Norwich will go down over Newcastle. I think Newcastle will still be enough. And like Jin was saying, Steve Bruce is a specialist in keeping dead teams up, basically. So, and then again, I would probably put. I don't think 8th is wrong for Villa. I just don't think West Ham will finish top 8. And this isn't even a sour thing. I reckon I'd swap West Ham and Arsenal. That would be. Obviously, I've done my prediction, but in terms of the main points, so you put apart from that, it's very similar to everyone else's. Let's just go through a few comments, guys. I'm going to bring up a comment earlier that was really nice stuff. We always appreciate these kind of comments. It makes us, appreciative of all the hard work we do in our team at SpursRelated. He says, big fan of you guys, Dicto. I've read that completely wrong. Ditko, sorry. Big fan of you guys. Most reliable place for Spurs news. Keep up the good work, lads. Really appreciate that comment. I'm sure the others do as well. So Nico was saying earlier while Joe was talking, he thinks we'll finish top 6. Mr. J, what pisses me off is we miss players like Buendia, Ings, Dumfries for the right price. So when he said Dumfries, I was thinking, hang on a minute. Like, I thought Dumfries was still a PSV. So while Joe was talking, I quickly looked. Dumfries has gone to Inter Milan, nearly agreed, right, today.
Yeah.
For 12 million euros, which, by the way, is like £8 million. How on earth has that happened? Like, why have we
not made that signing?
Like, why is no one else gone for Dumfries, right?
Yeah,
we need a right back, and I don't want to go on a rant because this is not the video, but we need a right back. Dumfries was available for £10 million. Great British pounds. Well,
no way.
He's gone there. I'm reading a report. He's gone there for 12 million euros plus potential 2 million euros in add-ons. So let's just, for argument's sake, say it was 15 million euros total. That 15 million euros is genuinely about 10 million pounds. Wait a sec. Yeah, 12 million, 12 million pounds for Dumfries, and we know how good he is from the Euros. That is a bargain, an absolute bargain. So spot on there, Mr. J. That does annoy me, and we'll be left with Serge Aurier. What do you think about Jovic on loan? Didn't really hit the ground running at Real Madrid, did he? Luka Jovic.
Frankfurt, didn't he?
He was
Looking for
brilliant at
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, absolutely fantastic. But I mean, in terms of for Real Madrid, he's not really done anything. I mean, how many goals has he scored for Real Madrid?
But he went back to Frankfurt, didn't he, on loan? He did okay.
Yeah, but in terms of what he's done,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not good, is it? Luka
I know
Jovic,
he had a decent start when he went back to Frankfurt. I actually don't, to be honest, I don't know how it went after that. So could be equally uninspiring compared to his Madrid career. But yeah,
I'm just gonna have a look. Luka Jovic stats. So yeah, you're right. He scored 4 goals last year in the Bundesliga in 18 appearances. Not quite what he was doing when he was there the first time.
I thought it was more. Yeah.
But in terms of his Real Madrid stats, they are poor. Like, I mean, what's his Real Madrid stats? A second. So we've got 10. It's not good. I mean, and we know that he didn't hit the ground running at Real Madrid. But in terms of his appearances, 21 games, 2 goals. I mean,
I wonder how much that can be put down to not getting a decent run of games, given that Benzema is obviously the first choice. I wonder.
I think that's got to be one of the worst signings ever. I mean, Luka Jovic signed for Real Madrid, right? In 2019 for a reported 60 million euros on a 6-year contract, and he has returned in all competitions a total of 2 goals.
Oof.
I mean, that is shocking.
For the money they paid for him, especially, that
is really poor, really poor. So in terms of the answer for that, I would not sign Luka Jovic. He's a donkey. He's probably Soldado V2. West Ham have better defence than Aston Villa. They do. I do like Kufau. He's a good player. And obviously Cresswell's decent. But yeah, Villa, Tyrone Mings concerns me. I'm not convinced paying 17 million for Vlahovic. Neither am I. I don't think that is a good idea either. Again,
he had one season, isn't it? One good season.
Yeah, how many goals did he actually score last
21,
year?
I think.
Was it 21? So for Fiorentina, 21 goals in 37 games.
The thing
21
is,
years old. Yeah, he could be good. But 70 million, no.
70 million is what we offered for Martinez, for Lautaro Martinez. It can't be the same as what we offered for Vlahovic. 21, isn't it?
What I don't understand with Spurs, and we'll be talking about this time next year. I'm telling you now, lads. I'm telling you now. But all we ever talk about is how we're 5 million off Grealish, 4 million off Bruno Fernandes, 10 million off Dybala in image rights. We will be talking about the fact we were 5 million off getting Lautaro Martinez this time next year, and we'll be going, oh, why didn't we get Lautaro Martinez? Look at him banging in the goals for Inter Milan now. He's the main man without Lukaku. What a surprise. Daniel Levy, put your money down. If we sell Harry Kane, Lautaro Martinez has to be bought. We need to be signing a striker of that caliber. 60 million pounds they want minimum, right? Euros. So go and bid 70 million. Why not? If we get 120 million for Kane, why can't we put some money down? I'm fed up of our club saying we can't. But anyway, that's for another video. We'll just go through a couple more comments. Mr. J again, 40 for Isaac and 30 for Werkshaws. So again, we could do the split. We could buy 2 strikers. We've needed a backup striker for Kane for many years. Carlos Vinicius, the man celebrating against, who was it? The Tim Pot Farmer League team. What was their names? Bless them. Big up to them.
Ludogorets or someone.
No. I'm talking about in the FA Cup where they were drinking.
Marine.
They were drinking Prosecco out in their back garden watching the football. It felt like I was at my local. Do you know what I mean? What was their names? Marine. Yes. Big up Marine. But unfortunately, Carlos Vinicius, our backup striker, decided to do
Isaac as well. I think Isaac's just signed a contract at Real Sociedad till 2026. So I don't think he's going to go 40 mil.
Thing is, if we do get money for Kane, why can't we get Martinez and then a striker of Isaac or Weghorst quality?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
doesn't have to be 2, not to say that they're mediocre, but 2 slightly lower caliber strikers than Martinez. Get Martinez and get another decent striker. You don't have to get 2 sort of strikers that you have to play together to get results, sort of thing. Get Martin, get a backup.
I think if Alessio, what Alessio's saying, if he signed a long-term contract,
Yeah.
Yeah, of
clearly
course.
put a clause in it to
Mm.
only release him for what 60, 70 million.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're not stupid. That's what teams do with release clauses, and unfortunately, ours hasn't quite paid off because clearly this contract for Kane that was signed
There
2
was
years
no-
ago now,
Yeah.
the release clause wasn't there at all or properly. I'm
Yeah,
not
there's no
sure.
release. No
This
release.
gentleman's agreement, why was it not in writing? You know,
Yeah.
Judge Rindle would be pulling his hair out. So I mean, you know. Anyway, lads, great predictions. Thanks all
Yeah.
to those in the chat. Big up Mr. J as always in the comments. Keenan William with a comment. Joe obviously coming in. Nico. Great comment from Ditko. Cristiano came in, not Ronaldo. Wilkes. Finn was here for a bit. Anyway, all the comments, fantastic stuff, guys. We appreciate your cooperation and feedback. Obviously, talking to you guys is great. Michael, thanks for your predictions once again, mate. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Alessio and Jin, great stuff. And obviously, Michael, thanks for the graphics as well, and Finn for the thumbnails. And guys, that is Spurs-related predictions for the 21-22 season. I can't wait to come back here in May and laugh at my predictions when I get 1 out of 20 of them right, which is probably Man City to win the league, and everything else is completely wrong. But we can come and have a laugh and a review on it then. So, guys,
that'll be
we
good.
have got confirmed on the podcast. We will do an actual podcast. I know we've had a lot of live streams and live videos recently, but we're going to be going back to the Spurs-related podcast next week. Or we'll get this guy on our live, and it is no other than the Irish Hotspur, #1 Irish Spurs fan, will be coming in, guys. You guys love him on the podcast and Spurs-related videos, so we're excited to bring him back on and on our new setup on StreamYard. So, guys, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that one. Follow us on all socials. Follow our accounts if you want. Stay up to date with all the Spurs-related transfer news on our socials. We are 200 followers away from 60k on Instagram now, guys, which is absolutely mad. So appreciate all your support. And yeah, guys, it's been Spurs Related. Take care, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Thank you.